So I am moving, at least for a few months, maybe longer if I get a permit. So anyway, here are all of the mini PCs that I have in my collection, and I need to pare this down to just a couple things that I'm going to take with me. So I guess this is kind of like the mini rack home labs that have been popular recently, except, well, I'm not going to bring a mini rack, so I don't have space for a mini rack. But I am going to try to bring some form of storage, some form of networking, some form of virtualization, so I can keep making these sort of Proxmox videos, that kind of stuff for you guys. So if you guys want to see the minimal selection of hardware that I'm going to take with me on my journey and how I set it up, then come along on this adventure. But first, this video is brought to you by Anker, the world's #1 charging brand. Take this guy for example. It's a small 140 watt charger, the US style plug, and 4 outlets, all of which can do power delivery at the same time. You can even take a look at how much power each port is drawing individually. Or maybe you need this 165 watt power bank with built-in carrying handle that also doubles as a USB Type-C cord. And even if I plug this guy here into my laptop, I've got another one. This one is retractable. So now we can see how much power we're delivering total. 7 watts to my microphone and 24 watts to my laptop. It's a good thing any one of these can act as the charging cord. There we go. Don't have to carry a charging cord around either. Even got it charging my laptop and charging itself at the same time. So if you're interested, check these guys out, links in the description below. Now back to the video. Okay, so I want one box to run my router, I want one box to run Proxmox, I want one box that I can bare metal image with whatever I want. So 3 boxes, one of those needs good routing, one of those needs good everything, and one of those needs basically nothing. So one thing I'm definitely not bringing is spinning rust. So with any of these NASs here, like this one can do 8 SSDs. Even if they're kind of slow, 8 SSDs is a lot. And I could fit, with the SSDs I have, I could probably collect 8 1 terabyte SSDs and have 8 terabytes and be happy. Maybe I have some 2 terabyte SSDs floating around, I have to look and see what I got. But I'm going to try to go all SSD on this guy across all the systems. So that means the TerraMaster is out. Synology is going to be out too. I didn't like the Synology that much. I feel like they're kind of overhyped and overpriced. Especially now with them restricting drives. So Synology is out for me too. So I have a collection of M.2 SSDs here. Most of these are not good SSDs. So every time I get one of these guys and review it, part of my process includes imaging the SSD that came with it. So I have a backup of what they shipped with originally if I need it again. And after I'm done with it, I take the SSD out and I put it in this pile here. So these are largely like low-cost SSDs that have come from all these mini PCs. But some of them are good. Some of them I bought myself. Some of them were sent to me by SSD vendors. So I've had advertisements for those before. And some of these NAS companies also ship name brand SSDs. So Ugreen ships Samsung, for example. So generally these are going to be on the 1 terabyte size. That's a really common size that I get shipped. So I think I can put together 4 or maybe even 8 SSDs. Probably not 8, but I can get somewhere in that range. So that's what I'm looking for on a storage server. So here's an option, Avro K100. I've reviewed this guy before. So this guy's got 4 M.2 slots. I think they're all PCIe Gen 3x2 from what I remember. It's an N100. So I've got 2.5 gig NIC. It's a nice little mini PC, but cooling on the M.2s is not great. It's USB Type-C powered, so I could power it from battery if I wanted to. But I've been told the power in Europe is extremely reliable compared to Michigan, so hopefully that won't be an advantage. This would be great if I was actually like carrying it places. Like if I was actually traveling and I needed to bring a server with me. This is really small and Type-C powered. But I'm not that space constrained, so I can afford to bring something a little bit bigger. And then I got the GMK Tech. So this one is also Type-C powered. I guess that's an advantage for this. So this one I had a pretty good time with when I reviewed it before. It has good cooling of the CPU. It has dual 2.5 gig, which will be nice for me. It has the weird power supply that'll kill your stuff, but I can be aware of that. Jeff Geerling actually had a really hard time with this guy overheating M.2s. So I didn't have that problem, but I also didn't test the thermals quite as well as he did, I think. So I could take the bottom off and just leave it off, let the SSDs cool naturally. I could also pick something else, but this is one to consider. Okay, so for like the core system, I guess that leaves me with the 3 heavy hitters. So I got the Ugreen SSD NAS here, I got the Minis Forum, and I got the TerraMaster NAS. Okay, so here's the TerraMaster. Let's get the box out of the way. So this guy can fit 8 SSDs, M.2. Again, this is N100 base, so I'm worried about performance, but it has a lot of I/O bandwidth, and I like that about it. So this guy has got fans that cool the whole thing. On this side, I got space for 4 M.2s, and on this space, I got space for 4 more. So I got some RAM. How much we got? 16 gigs. That's probably adequate. Not fantastic, but adequate. And again, we're limited by the low-end CPU on this thing. So if I just wanted storage, that'd be perfectly fine. I would probably choose this one if I just wanted storage, because I could put so many of the small drives I have in here and make use of them. But I don't want just storage, I want compute. So this one's the Minis Forum. So this is the MSA1. So people have been absolutely raving about the MS01, the Intel version, and the new AMD version, the MSA2. But I had a pretty terrible time with this first-gen MSA1. So unlike the MS01 and the MSA2, this one doesn't fit a PCIe slot. So I'd have to use Oculink. I have the cables for Oculink, and I could bring them, but that's more headache to deal with Oculink. So this might be a great solution for my sort of bare metal test system, but maybe not, I don't know. I've got 2.5 gig LAN. I got 2 of them this time, which I like, but one of them broke on me while I was testing it, and Minis Forum never addressed that, so I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just broken. Now, of all the systems here, this one does have the highest end CPU, I'm pretty sure. So that's a positive thing. But it can fit quite a few SSDs as well, so I got 2 on top. One of it can do U.2. However, it can't fit a standard 15mm U.2, only a 7mm U.2. And I don't have any of those, so I couldn't put my 15mm U.2 in here. I have to take the case off. This case is also a huge pain to work with. They gave you some stupid clip you use to pull it out. And mine was so jammed it didn't work, so I ended up taking all the screws out every single time I wanted to take it apart. So I just feel like this product is too low quality for me. I mean, I know it's very expensive and has a lot of high-end components, but the build quality was bad on my unit. I don't know if that was what was going on there, because Minis Forum had a good reputation. I thought this unit was built very poorly. And so, the last choice here, the Ugreen NAS. So we got 10 gig, a Quantia NIC, so I can do multi-gig, 1 HDMI. These guys can do Thunderbolt, so if I get like a 6-foot Thunderbolt cable, I could plug this straight into my laptop and have like 20 gigabit networking from this to my laptop for like video editing. That'd be super nice. Then I don't have to get a 10 gig switch. I could run everything at 2.5 gig, which is probably what I'm going to do. I can fit my 4 SSDs in here. So if I get 1 terabyte SSDs, I could do like 3 terabytes with a RAID Z. But this is the one I think I'm gonna settle on for my Proxmox system. So I'll put Proxmox on here. I'll run NAS like I've been running. I'll do all that stuff. I'll boot off of the 4-drive pool. I'll do everything off the 4-drive pool. And I think this will be my compute node. Okay, so I'm going to kick out the TerraMaster, kick out the GMK Tech and the Mayunda and the Link Station. So next I need a router, and I really only have like 2 options for that. So this guy here, the Protectly Vault Pro VP2430, I made a video on this recently. This is a fantastic NAS unit, Intel N150 based, quad Intel 2.5 gig NICs. I'm not going to have 2.5 gig internet where I'm going. I think I have about 500 meg, maybe even slower, but that's perfectly fine. The one thing I do want to play with is cellular backup. I've wanted to play with that for a long time and haven't got around to doing it. But maybe the lower data charges there will help me, motivate me to do that. Because here I would blow through like a huge amount of cost trying to do cellular backup internet, any meaningful bandwidth. Maybe I could do Starlink backup. Literally, Starlink would be cheaper than Comcast. Comcast are so greedy here in the US that if I switch to Starlink in an area that has like gigabit cable service, I would save money because of how much Comcast charges in data overages. But anyway, so I won't have to worry about that. I'm going to bring a 2.5 gig switch. I think I have an unmanaged 2.5 gig switch that I'll probably use. This guy is more powerful than I need, but if I have to rely on it to do bridging, then I would need that. So like if I want to do VLANs with my unmanaged switch, that means that I need a dedicated link that doesn't go through the switch for each of my systems that does VLANs, which realistically would just be the Proxmox system in this. So I could have 2.5 gigs from this to the Proxmox system doing VLANs, and then bridge that with another 2.5 gig port to a 2.5 gig switch that's not doing VLANs, and then have a third port that goes to WAN. And then all of my traffic going across the LAN net would have to go up through the firewall and back, which would be a little bit inconvenient, but not terrible. Now, one thing I haven't figured out yet is Wi-Fi. So I have a couple options on that. The Grandstream AP displaced a TP-Link AP. So I could take that TP-Link AP, which is Wi-Fi 5. I have a MikroTik, which is also Wi-Fi 5, and again, that's going to be fine. Literally, I'm going to have 2 laptops and 2 phones on my network. That's it. So my Wi-Fi doesn't need to be crazy. Another option I have is to get something more dedicated from MikroTik instead of using the Vault. So I guess let me know what you guys think about that. So I think this is the selection for routing, tentatively. I could get a Wi-Fi card for that and run something like OpenWRT, because OpenSense is not going to do a good job at Wi-Fi. I could run it in a VM, I guess, and then do the Wi-Fi in the VM in Linux. That sounds really jank to me. It's such a question. Like, I know I could run cellular and Wi-Fi all on the Vault Pro. It's powerful enough. It's just that OpenSense has a better UI than OpenWRT, but BSD is bad at Wi-Fi. So I guess that's still a bit up in the air if I should buy something new from MikroTik. Maybe I need to visit Druvis personally in Riga to ask him for something. I don't know, you guys think I should visit Riga? But that's what I'm going to bring for now. It's also fanless, which is nice. So I guess that leaves a bare metal system. So I like to have a bare metal system that I can image to test stuff. I test a lot of stuff in VMs, and I test almost all of them on this box here. I will have remote access to this box still over the internet, but my upload speed here with Comcast is like laughably slow. So I won't be able to transfer a whole lot of data. So because of that limitation, I can't really send a lot of data away where I'm going. I can still do backups here though, because that uses download and not upload. So I can run backups to my backup server here. I just can't restore from the backups because it'd be too slow. But I think for my video files, I'd be content with that. So if I did a nightly backup here with my YouTube project files, worst comes to worst, I could have someone ship me a flash drive or something. That'd be fine, I think. So bare metal systems. I've got the box PC here. This PC has been used for really specialized things. So I've picked it when I need really low-end hardware. I've picked it when I need to run really old versions of Linux for real weird reasons. I don't think this would be a great one to bring. This one is the N300, so it's more powerful than N100. It's fanless. I think this one would be a good candidate. It only has one SSD, which again is fine for what I'm doing. So we'll put that one aside. I again could bring the minis for them. And because it's not my primary Proxmox node, and it's just kind of for playing around, that'd probably be fine. This one, I don't think can do Thunderbolt. It can do 2.5 gig. So what does that leave me? This guy, the GMK Tech, I haven't reviewed yet, so I guess you'll see a review on that in the next few weeks. This one is another mini PC. This one had magnets coming off. This one has an AMD-based CPU, I think, and it supports a second memory card, so it only has one 16 gig stick. I could put a second 16 gig SODIMM in, have more memory. This one has Wi-Fi, it can fit one SSD. This cover was held in by magnets, and as I've used this over the past year, because I do use this for testing stuff, especially when I do KVM reviews, I always pull out one of these random mini PCs for those. The magnets have fallen off. So these magnets are supposed to be inside this plastic piece, and the glue has loosened up after I've removed it a bunch of times and it fell off. So that's the kind of thing you wouldn't see in a short review, but after using it for a year I figured that out. Doesn't bother me at all, but it's just a thing to be aware of. If you see any light flickers, by the way, it's because this is the US and our power is not great. I've been assured again, though, that the European power grid is fantastic, the Nordic power grid at least, and that I won't need to resort to using batteries like this to power my servers, but that could be a consideration for some of these. Now this one I actually would love to bring, but I actually donated it to the robotics team. So this is a fanless N100. And it's really a basic system, but it runs Ubuntu now, and they use it to do CAD on the big TV. So that way they don't have to plug in my laptop to do stuff on the big TV. And the K100, this would actually probably make a great bare metal system as well, mostly just because it's got that Type-C power. So I've got some project ideas that involve doing more portable things. I could carry this guy around with me. He doesn't have USB 3, unfortunately. He has it over Type-C, but not over Type-A. That's something I really specifically need for an upcoming project, so we'll consider him, but leave him over here. And so that leaves the Minix. Okay, so here's the Minix. This guy is passively cooled, so I can take the sticker off. He's passively cooled. I don't remember what my network speed is on this. It's got Wi-Fi, so I guess I could use this as a router too and use it as... Well, no, it has an Intel card, so I can't do that. That sucks. Well, I'll figure something out for that. I've got Type 3, I got USB-C, but not Thunderbolt, so... This one I think I'll bring as my doing stuff PC. Well, it comes with Euro plugs too, I'm going to need those. So as for other general tech stuff that's coming, so I got the 3 systems. My camera's going to come, but you're watching me on the camera, so that can't be packed up yet. Same with my mics, my DJI mics. I decided not to bring my Rode mic, I'm going to bring the DJI mic only. And I think I'm not going to bring my Nikon camera, I'm just going to bring the Z-Cam. So the Nikon camera has the advantage of having a battery. I could buy a battery for the Z-Cam, I guess. Despite how much I've had problems with Z-Cam's customer service, the camera itself works well now that they've fixed it. So for filming, that's great. If I'm going out on location, taking photos and stuff, I guess my iPhone will have to be good enough. So I got Power Brick from Anchor. Thanks to them for sending it to me. The Open Interface. This is another tool that I use literally every day. So I think I've got a video on it somewhere up here. This is a USB KVM, so you can plug in USB and HDMI to your target computer, and then plug in USB to your laptop, and the screen of your target computer is like a window on your laptop. You can move your mouse in there, click on it, type on it, stuff like that. This is super useful for me when I'm testing computers and things like that. Not so much for remote access, but it's available. As for remote access, I have the GL iNet, I have the Nano KVM from Cypede, and I have the Jet KVM. So I do want to do a video recapping those 3, by the way, to see how much their firmware has improved. I reviewed all of those with really early firmware, and some of them had really big problems with their firmware that allegedly have been fixed now, so I should probably go back and revisit those. I'm probably going to set up some of those here so that I can monitor my stuff back at home here. Not sure if I want to use the Jet KVM for that because I trust the Jet KVM, or if I want to bring the Jet KVM with me because I want to test the Jet KVM in the future. That's the sort of conundrum I'm in with that. I've had this little switch for a couple years now. It's a MokerLink, it says 4-port, it has 5 ports. 2.5 gig unmanaged switch, and does exactly what it says. It can do 1504 byte frames, no bigger, so no jumbo frames, no VLAN tagging, just a basic switch. So I don't really need 2.5 gig because I can plug in the Ugreen to my laptop over Thunderbolt and just do it that way. That's probably what I'm going to do realistically, because I'm going to do video editing on my laptop. So I'm probably going to get like a docking station for that or something and have like an external monitor, maybe just a monitor and just plug the monitor in. But that's my plan for editing. If I plugged it in over Thunderbolt, then I wouldn't need high-speed networking. So I can instead use something like, the Hex. So this is a MikroTik Hex. They currently sell for $69. Nice. But basically it's got 5 gigabit ports. This one does SFP. The new one can do 2.5 gig SFP, which is a bit odd because it's still not SFP plus, it's just SFP at a higher bit rate. So you need equipment that supports 2.5 gig SFP, which not a lot of stuff does. 2.5 gig was much closer to the bandwidth used by InfiniBand. I think what it actually is the chipset that MikroTik has chosen supports 2.5 gig ME that you could use for 2.5 gig PHY, for 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. But they've just put that into the SFP Plus, so you could use it for 2.5 gig over fiber, or you could get an RJ45. I don't even know if that works right, but anyway, I could get another one of these. I could go visit Riga and get one personally. I could get a nicer one, like an RB5009. I don't think I need the 5009. Just the little Hex would probably be fine for what I do, because most of my network traffic stays on the Proxmox system. I generally don't run a lot of, here I run traffic between my 2 Proxmox systems, or if I'm benchmarking stuff, I will plug it in, but I'm not running hardly anything through my router. When I'm running tests here, I'm running them across VLANs for my switch, or I'm running them box to box, but I'm not running them through the router. So a router like this would be fine. This gives me the advantage of having a multi-port VLAN aware switch, which would be cool, but I don't know if I need that. These are my options. I could use the hex. I could just plug everything straight into the 4 ports on the Volt and use that as a switch, because I'm literally only going to have these 3 systems and the Wi-Fi AP. So those are my options for that. Now another option is this thing. Now this thing, it did promise to be everything I need in one, and it probably could be. So I could fill it with drives if I wanted to use spinning Rust. It's got a bunch of networking. I could run router virtualized on it. I wouldn't be that worried about it because it's really powerful, but it's a little bit too large. So it didn't fit on the table, so I didn't do it earlier. I do have the box it came in, which is nicely foam padded. The cat has taken the box and scratched it, so I'd have to put it back together. That's fine. But it's not going to fit in like anything. So it's not going to make the journey either. But if I was buying new, this could easily replace several of the other systems I have. But it's just not going to be feasible to transport. So a few last minute additions just before publishing this video. Here are the 3 computers I decided to bring. So I got the Protectly firewall. It's going to run OpenSense, at least initially. It could get replaced in the future by a MikroTik router, but it's going to come. I got the Ugreen. This is going to be the Proxmox system. Maybe I'll make a video setting it up separately. Got the Minix system, which currently is running OpenWRT, but despite having Intel network card, it's not great for Wi-Fi, etc. But this is just kind of a general purpose system. I'm using it to test stuff, as one does. So last minute additions, I decided to bring some of my 2.5 gig adapters because USB Ethernet is just useful. So bring some of these guys along. And I thought about it more, and I really need a VLAN aware switch. So MikroTik Hex I mentioned earlier, this is a VLAN aware switch. So I can do VLAN tagging. It's got PoE out, PoE in, SFP, 1 gig SFP, not 10 gig. So this can do a lot of stuff. But I have some plans on my radar, some projects that I'm in the middle of working on that I'm not done with yet, where the ability to do 2.5 gig VLANs would be really, really nice. So I decided I'm going to bring this guy, which I've currently taken from my laundry room. So you might have seen the video before where I added a CRS312 and a CRS305. And so this is my fiber switch that does fiber upstairs to my desktop. But if I'm not here, I don't really need 10 gig to my desktop because my desktop's going to be turned off. So I might as well bring this guy with me and just unplug the fiber while I'm gone. So this guy can do 4 ports of 10 gig SFP plus. I have SFP plus to RJ45s. I have one that can do 10 gig only, and I have one that can do 2.5 gig, 5 gig, 10 gig. And then I've also got one 1 gig port on the switch. And these all go to a switching ASIC. And the switching ASIC in this guy, unlike the switching ASIC in the Hex, the switching ASIC in the CRS305 can do routing as well. So this is not quite as featureful as my CRS312 that I have in the background, or in the closet back there. The CRS312 can do stateless or stateful offload. So it can offload IPv4, NAT, and firewall sessions, and they're working on IPv6, but that one's not out yet. This one can offload IPv4 and IPv6 routing, but not firewalling. So it's really slow at firewalling, but routing is something that I have a need for in some projects that are coming up. So the CRS305 is going to be my last thing that I add to this collection here. And really this CRS305 is a really great switch. I mean, it's just as useful as this one. So I use this one to do packet captures if I'm testing whatever. I can plug stuff into this, have it route through the CPU, do a packet capture. I can bridge it through the CPU and do a packet capture. I can switch it in hardware if I want to do VLAN switching. Whatever I want to do, this guy can do it, except this guy can do all the same stuff, but at 10 gig. It can't do routing at 10 gig because that hits the CPU again, but it can do all the layer 2 switching stuff at 10 gig, which is fantastic. So this ends up being the collection of stuff I'm going to bring. I'm pretty sure all of these power adapters are 230 volt capable, 50 hertz. Guess I'll have to figure that out and see what's going on. None of these use Type-C, so it's a little bit unfortunate, but I've been told the power there is super reliable, so I shouldn't need to use like USB power banks to power my stuff like I would do here. I'm a little bit worried about not having more fiber equipment with me, so I might end up buying some of that when I get there for testing stuff. If you know of any good used sites, I buy stuff on eBay here in the US, but EU-based I mean, I could buy from fs.com, of course. They sell in the EU. I have my box PC that's not coming with the 25 gig card that I do testing of some stuff with. A lot of these ideas, though, are on my ideas board, and I don't have an exact timeline for them, so they probably won't happen in the next 3 months anyway. But yeah, so this is my collection. If you guys have any comments about this, I would love to hear about them below. If you want to chat with me on Discord, I have a Discord server link down below for that as well. And thanks to Anchor for sponsoring this video. Link down there in the description for their power bank as well. And I'll see you guys on the next adventure.